Hey, what's up guys? Hardleg Joe here with the profile for my Spirit Troll Deck 2020 edition, a modern take on spirits which tries to combine their newer, more ritual-based playstyle with some of the more trollsy elements of their past. If you want to see this thing in action, check out the main What a Deck video linked down in the description. There I'll be playing 10 duels against random opponents and just showing off how this works. Otherwise here I'm going to be going card by card and explaining what everything does and why we play it. Starting off with our monster lineup, 3 Talisman, 2 Feather, 2 Bookstone, a couple candles, and some spiders from the Spirit Zone, 3 Spirit Searcher, 3 Big Ass Rock, 3 Spirit Double Summon, and a couple pairs of Peacocks, 3 Green Jello, and 3 Extravagance, and 3 the Ritual Spell, cause it just makes sense. Triple Pre-Prep is our final spell, and cause I'm feeling mean, we main evenly as well. We also got Trap Trick, as you do, to search Harpies Feather Storm, and Switcheroo. Our final pair of traps is Urgent Ritual Art, and now I'm all done with the rhyming part of the video. Our extra deck consists of 3 Baguska and 2 each of Utopia Beyond, Strike Bouncer, Bird with Gun, Bird Without Gun, The Hick Fly, and Sheep in Chair. The side deck I'll go over in a bit. As for how to actually play this thing, at its heart, it's a ritual deck. You have 2 ritual monsters, both of which are peacocks. Good Sir over here sends 3 of your opponent's monsters back to the hand, and then summons a low-level spirit from your hand, ignoring the summoning conditions. Milady, meanwhile, sends 3 of your opponent's spell traps back to the deck, and then summons a low-level spirit from your deck, ignoring the summoning conditions. These have to ignore the summoning conditions because most of the spirits can't be special summoned. That's kind of their thing. Their other thing is that they return to their owner's hand at the end of the turn they were summoned. In some cases this is good, like Artie over here lets you search a spirit when it's summoned, so the fact that it returns to the hand means you can summon it again on subsequent turns and continue to gain resources. In most cases though, it just sucks. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is an insanely powerful floodgate that stops all non-spirit monsters from activating their effects, which is cool and all, but it would be much cooler if he didn't return to the hand at the end of your turn. Fortunately though, due to a quirk in the way these effects are worded, he doesn't have to. A mono only returns to the hand if it was normal summoned. So if you somehow special summon it, say by ignoring the summoning conditions, this will just stay on the field and continue to hinder your opponent. Anyway, as I was saying, these 2 are your main playmakers. Each one removes up to 3 cards from the field when summoned, and neither one of them targets or destroys. They do return to the hand at the end of your turn, just like all the other spirits, but they at least have the courtesy to poop out 2 tokens when they go, giving you fodder to summon them again. And most likely you will summon them again, thanks to the Impcantation engine and Urgent Ritual Art. The latter is a trap that banishes any ritual spell from the hand or graveyard to copy its effect. Not only does this let you easily re-summon your bird people after you've summoned them, but it lets you do it on your opponent's turn for maximum disruption. As for the incantations, they're a strange little ritual engine, kind of complicated if you aren't familiar with them, but I'll try to explain them anyway, because I know a lot of my audience is kind of new to the game. Talismandra says, reveal a ritual monster in your hand, then summon this card and another incantation from your deck. Also, if this card is summoned from the deck, add a ritual monster from your deck to your hand. All the other cards here follow a similar pattern, but with fundamental differences. Feather is almost exactly the same thing, except when it's summoned from the deck, you add a ritual monster from your graveyard to your hand instead of your deck. Book and Candle, meanwhile, need you to reveal a ritual spell in your hand to summon them, and when summoned from the deck, they grab a ritual spell. Candle grabs it from the deck, and Book grabs it from the graveyard. Using these 4, you can search and recover your ritual spell fairly easily, all while putting high-level monsters on board to use as tribute, allowing you to drop birds on the field like you're playing Duck Hunt. These are also why we play a 50-card deck. You need to play multiple candles and books so that you can search and recover your spells effectively, but they only work when summoned from the deck, so you don't want to draw them. By playing over 40 cards, we can decrease the chances of opening one of these 4 in favor of opening Feather, Talisman, or the secret 5th incantation, Cuphead. This is a ritual monster. We don't summon it, we just use its in-hand effect, which is discard a card, summon any incantation from the deck. Easy, simple, lets you search, lets you get any of them boys. And that's really the main engine. Everything else in here is just a tech card, not essential to the win con, but fun to use. Yamato-No-Kami is a spirit that can special summon itself by banishing a spirit in the graveyard. Great if you just need to push for game, and occasionally useful for making rank 6 monsters. He's easily searchable by Aratama, who I'll remind you, searches any spirit from the deck, including the rituals. Big Rock here is for stun and protection. You want to play at least one to summon off of your Peacock so it can lock down your opponent's follow-up plays, but I like to have 3 so I can occasionally normal summon it before I ritual summon to ensure that these effects don't get negated by other monsters. Just be careful because this negates all non-spirits, so if you summon it, you can't use any of your incantations. Or you can, but they'll be negated, which you probably don't want. Little Nicky, meanwhile, has 2 uses. First, if you normal summon it, you can normal summon again with any other spirit, allowing you to easily make rank 4s and link 2s if you've got an Artie or a Dwayne around. Secondly, if this is sent to the grave while you control a spirit monster, you get to draw a card, which makes it an optimal tribute for the rituals, since this will hit the grave at the same time these hit the field. Also, if you open with Artie and Cuphead, you can summon Art, search Nicky, then discard it with Cup to get an incantation. The Imp will search a card and Nick will draw a card, so you end up with a +3 overall. Speaking of pluses, Pot of Extravagance, a nice little +1 that doesn't really affect us because we rarely go into the extra deck. You mostly just use Baguska to stall if you're in a bad situation. The rest is just a toolbox of different things for different situations, and we play 2 of them because we're banishing them off of Extravagance and you want to have a little backup. Cloth Sheep has some ritual synergy, Great Fly can be made with the tokens your rituals leave behind to boost their attacks, and these 2 are just some decent removal. Feel free to replace any of this with whatever you feel like, none of it's important to the win condition. As for the rest of our green cards, we've got our ritual spell, pretty basic, lets you summon either one of the peacocks, and lets you banish spirits from the grave as material. Its most useful feature though is that it actually names both of these in its card text, which means you can search them with pre-prep. Finally, we just got Trap Trick, and then a whole bunch of Trap Trick targets. Evenly Matched is pretty good in this format, especially for a go-second deck like this that leaves few monsters on the field. Just a complete blowout that helps you gain advantage or bait out negates before you ritual summon. Urgent Ritual Art I already went over, we played it 2 so you can use it with Trap Trick, and not 3 because it's rarely useful in the early game unless you happen to be going first. Harpies Feather Storm is a spicy but risky tech. It can be activated if you control a winged beast, and it negates all your opponent's monster effects for an entire turn. Both our rituals are winged beasts, but more importantly, so are the tokens they summon when they leave the field. So you can clear the board with one of your peacocks, set this, and then prevent your opponent's follow-up plays by negating all their monster effects for a turn. Last but not least is Switcheroo, one of my favorite cards. Lets you permanently swap the monsters you control with your opponent's monsters as long as you have the same number on the field. In many ways, this is the spiritual successor to Creature Swap, which was good in spirits because they return to your hand at the end of the turn, meaning if you swap a spirit, you get to keep them along with whatever you stole from your opponent. This has the same synergy with spirits, but also with incantations. I didn't mention it before, but they all have 0 attack and 0 defense, and they all have an effect which locks you out of the extra deck while they're on the field. It's easy to summon 2 or 4 imps in one turn, meaning you can leave them on the field, and then switch your opponent's half-built board for a field of useless monsters that they can't even link away. Furthermore, if you can then follow that up by summoning Mr. Peacock, he can return 3 of those imps back to your hand and summon them again. It rarely happens, but when it does, the satisfaction is worth the jank. All that leaves then is the side deck. Some of these are just alternate options if you don't want to play all the Trollsy traps. Lightning Storm and Dr. No More are probably better go-second options for taking apart boards. The rest of these are stuff I'd consider siding in. An extra copy of each peacock so you can side out the guy against spell trap heavy decks, or the girl against Monster Mash. If you find the duels are getting grindy, the incantations have their own ritual spell, which can summon any ritual monster and recurs itself, allowing you to ritual summon even more times. Everything else in here are just options for when you go first. Since Switcheroo, Urgent Ritual, and Feather Storm are your main first turn plays, we've got an extra copy of Urgent in the side deck, and 3 Lilith to allow you to search them all. There's also 2 Vanities cards here, which flood your opponent out of special summoning. They're both tribute summoned monsters, but you can tribute the Impcantations to get them out. It's not something I really like doing, but a lot of Ritual players seem to be taking this strategy lately, and it's worth exploring. Anyway, with that, there's the deck. Like the video if you liked it, comment if there's any changes you would make, and subscribe if you want more strange deck profiles. I do one of these every other week. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, good luck, and have fun.